And finally, for today's program, let's turn to David Trim for a look at Adventist history.
This week, we learn about a school in the U.S. state of Michigan that trained leaders on the church's health and temperance work.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. On January 14, 1878, a new educational institution opened in Battle Creek, Michigan. The Health and Temperance Missionary School was a joint enterprise of Battle Creek Sanitarium and Battle Creek College to prepare leaders and instructors in the health and temperance work of the church. Its initial enrollment was 75 students, but this soon grew to 150. The course continued for 20 weeks, with daily classes on subjects such as anatomy, physiology, chemistry, physics, and mental philosophy, what today would probably be called psychology. The Health and Temperance Missionary School was a major part of the health education campaign the Battle Creek Sanitarium was created to carry on. Later, the school's objectives were taken over by the American Medical Missionary College, but its ultimate successor is Loma Linda University's School of Public Health. 22 years and 2 days later, on January 16, 1900, Sarepta Miranda Irish Henry died. Mrs. Henry, as she was known for most of her public career, was a noted temperance reformer. A Methodist, from 1879 to 1895, Mrs. Henry had been a national evangelist and activist, preaching and organizing for the Women's Christian Temperance Union. She was known across the United States, but in 1895 she fell critically ill, and in 1896 she became a patient at Battle Creek Sanitarium. She recovered her health and became a Seventh-day Adventist. She continued to work for temperance reform, but put more and more energy into her new church. In 1898, she proposed a plan for what she called women's ministry, the forerunner of the much more recently created Women's Ministries Department. Ellen White was one who repeatedly and warmly endorsed Mrs. Henry, whose talents were recognized in 1898 when the General Conference made her a ministerial licentiate. She was the first woman to receive a ministerial license by vote of the General Conference Committee, as opposed to a conference committee. A prolific author and preacher, she was estimated by her contemporaries to have brought hundreds of men and women to Jesus before her untimely death at the age of 61, which was 118 years ago this week.